It's Jack, and this video is a warning to hopeless romantics. Listen, I'm going to get right into today's topic, but just before I do, if you're new here or returning and you're not yet on my mailing list, I will invite you to click the first link beneath this video, download my free guide that will put you on my mailing list, and here's why. Because I'm about to likely be launching a new program, and this will be announced and the invites will be made over email. So if you want to be potentially part of that or even interested at any level, click that link and get on my mailing list. So, you hopeless romantics, here we are, let's talk. I'm not going to be talking to you today as someone who's criticizing hopeless romantics, far from it. I'm talking to you today as possibly a former hopeless romantic who still has that guy somewhere within me, but maybe through the trials and travails of my own relational path and all the coaching that I've got to do with thousands of people at this stage, I've learned a few things that I want to share with you that might be helpful on your path. Let's start off though with an appreciation. I love hopeless romantics, right? Meaning how cool it is to be in the world and believe in love, believe in falling in love, believe in romance, believe that love conquers all things. I mean, in a sense, these are beautiful and heartfelt and open ways to be in the world. And to whatever extent we can be open and heartfelt and loving, shouldn't we be those things? I think yes. Here's the caveat though, I'm going to get right into it. Sometimes when we are being those things, we are also leaving other things out. So I like to think of, being a hopeless romantic this is kind of funny, as kind of putting on the goggles, right? That we've got a certain heuristic, a certain lens that we're looking at life through. And we are, with the rose-tinted glasses, we're seeing some of the things that we want to. We're seeing the romantic potential in someone, right? We're seeing the ways that maybe they are attractive to us or we're attractive to them. We're perhaps creating a story in our head about who we are and where we could go and who we could be. And all those things can be great enhancers of experience. And also, you may know that they can sometimes be detractors of experience and can set you up for a fall. Because the hopeless romantic, if we just get to the essence of this, often lacks sobriety, often lacks the ability to see things for what they are, to see them as they are, and to be clear about what is really in front of you. So sometimes that same beautiful thing that gives you the ability to enhance your experience, love on people, love falling in love, give and receive romantic gestures and what great things they are, can also be your downfall because you're maybe not willing to see the places that perhaps this person isn't good for you, right? Or perhaps they have a side of them that really doesn't work for you. Or perhaps you've had to delete out crucial information or even your own intuition and experience in order to stay in connection with them. And again, no judgment on that. We've all done that and been there. The question is your being a hopeless romantic, to whatever extent you identify with that, getting you what you want, right? I don't presuppose what your dating and relating goals are or should be. I'm curious what they are. And if what they are is, for instance, you're looking for a partner, is your being a hopeless romantic taking you in the direction that you want to go in, right? Is it helping you manifest this partner or partnership that you're looking for? Or is it possible that it sometimes has you stuck on people who aren't emotionally available to you in a relationship, or that there's a compatibility issue that you're overlooking and you're hopeless romantic? It's almost like being a bleeding heart liberal, where in a way your emotional reactivity about the situation is starting to get in the way of your ability to see things clearly and to what we call love on reality. We sometimes say on this channel, sober is the new sexy. And what we mean by that is actually seeing things clearly is kind of sexy because it allows you to get closer to what you want in relationship, to see if something is or isn't possible, rather than get stuck in a romantic imagining and longing about someone that may not really be the actual dynamic that exists between you. So let's look at this from another perspective. John Lennon famously said, "Love is all you need." That's part of the Beatles song. And he lived his life very much from that place. And I invite you into an inquiry. Is that true, right? For those of us that, imagine meeting someone perhaps halfway around the world and being willing to go make it happen, make a long distance relationship work, maybe make a relationship work with someone who's currently in a difficult place in their life. Whilst all those things may be attractive to that hopeless romantic in you, are they actually true in terms of getting you closer to what you want? So in my inquiry, have come to the place where I don't actually believe that love is all you need. I think you can love on lots of people. and that relationship, if we're talking about intimate relationship, partnership, committed relationship and partnership, actually has something else that's also important to the core of it. It's an interesting mix, right? Being with someone in a relationship is a mix of the unconditional, which is what John Lennon is, singing about there, right? Imagine a world, to quote the song, imagine a world with no boundaries, with no divisiveness, with no divisions artificially, as he would see it, between people across geography and religion, that we let all those things go and that actually it's just an outflowing of love, right? The reality is that humans, as animals with identities and group identities and biopsychosocial attachment systems, they don't only work as an outpouring of love from the heart, right? We also have needs, we have requirements, we have boundaries, we have conflict, we have aggression, we have all the other impulses that are also part of being an animal and being human. And if you are always just ignoring those things so that you can see what you want to see, those things eventually will come and bite you on the backside, right? Because they still remain true whether you're willing to see them or not. So my question to you is love only unconditional? Or is it possible, maybe, just maybe, that being in an intimate relationship with someone is also highly conditional? And if it weren't highly conditional, you could just walk down the street, go in the coffee shop, meet the next person and start dating them hard, right? But you'll know that there are certain people that you are much more interested in romantically. Part of our sobriety is sometimes getting curious about what is that? Are our attractions really leading us in the direction of what is good for us? And sometimes we might need to recalibrate what is actually happening there. Is it possible that if love is both in a romantic relationship unconditional, right? Really love on the person, see their highest potential spiritually and otherwise, but it's also really conditional because you have some requirements and needs because you're a human being. And there's some ways that you might need to be interacted with, or there's things that work for you or don't work for you. And for a lot of you, you have been in that work of actually making relationship more conditional, right? Meaning you have more conditions, needs, requirements, wants that are preconditions, if you will, for getting into a relationship with you. For a lot of you, you've been doing that work and good on you, right? So you've actually already kind of started to balance this, perhaps this sort of unconditional view. Maybe if you're someone who tends to, you're a helper, or you have an archetype of a mentor or a guide or an empath, a people pleaser, and you tend to find people that you can love on because part of your gift is actually to love people in places that maybe they can't, or you can see that they're not loving themselves, they don't have a ton of self-love, and you're going to come and pour a whole load of love into them, right? At one level, that is a fantastic thing. But that dynamic of, I'm going to love you in places that you can't, whilst that's great to bring into any relationship, it may not be the best place to as the sort of constellation point or the main contract or constellation of how a relationship is, right? Because when you tend to do that and you get so fixated on, wow, I really want to love on this person, you start to miss over here that actually there are some conditions to play well with you. And that part of your journey is also to get clear on what some of those conditions of playing well are. One of the things that I've seen, and maybe this has been true of me in the past, with hopeless romantics, is that it's easy to love falling in love. And that actually part of what you want is the falling in love process. And again, isn't that beautiful? Falling in love, if you haven't done it, I'd recommend it. It's one of the great things. It's a heightened experience. It's kind of like no other types of experience in some ways, right? Suddenly your life, you're going along, you're getting on the metro in the morning, commuting to work, yada, yada, seeing your friends on the weekend, going along, and then boom, you meet someone and suddenly, whoo, technicolor, right? Heart rate's up, arousal is up, interest is up, you're whistling, you're singing, there's a pep in your step. Life is different when you are in that falling in love process. But here's the kicker, falling in love and long-term compatibility are two different things. And if you love so much on the process of falling in love, sometimes what you have is you cycle quickly through lots of intense falling in love experiences, and then you wonder, oh, why is it not working out for me? And it might be that the hopeless romantic in you is so much looking for that spark that it actually misses what are compatibility factors in yourself that make you more grounded and perhaps in other people, right? So definitely there's a dance here. You have a right to your hopeless romantic, but I would just say, as a consideration, what might it be like for you to be a romantic person, right, who enjoys the give and receiving of romance, right? Whether that's flowers, chocolates, a surprise experience, a mystery weekend away, love notes, cards, have all that. But let's let's take that hopeless bit away, because the hopeless is in my language, I'd call that false hope. Right? We talk about false hope on this channel. False hope is when you keep something alive with an expectation or a fantasy that's not really real. Right? It's an idea that you have. You have an idea about this person. You have an idea about what romance could be. And sometimes your idea is getting in the way of reality, right? If you're a good scientist, you keep your ideas and theories out and you actually do the result, get the data, and then say, what is the data telling me? Rather than how can I impose my story narrative on what is going on? And so if you are a hopeless romantic, one of the things that might balance you out is actually cultivating more of your scientist, right? Your slow, patient observer. Say what actually is happening here and what is happening between us. And what often gets in the way of that is that romance is, woo, it's hijacking your attention. Because now you're invested, you want it to go a certain way, you want a certain kind of experience of how it will be with the other person. Maybe you even, I've had people share this with me, clients, etc. Maybe even have a lot of ideas about how it's going to go, right? Like he's going to take me here, then he's going to say this, then I'm going to say this. And there's a whole load of like rehearsal happening, but it's taking you from presence, right? Because presence is the best strategy, is the here and now of what is actually happening, not what do I think is happening, not what do my goggles tell me is happening, but what actually is happening. So you might know this. Hopeless romantics often have a lot of the downside, right? The high expectations and then the valleys of disappointment where reality catches up to them, right? And they have to see, oh, actually this person isn't available to me. This person is an addict. This person is a narcissist. This person is actually in love with multiple people. This person is kind of like, is a love bombing person. This person, actually, after we go through the falling in love, we don't have the ability to actually stay in connection and to kind of stabilize, or we don't have the ability to attach to each other. Or, wow, it's really cool because love has brought us together and we are from such different backgrounds, right? We're from different socioeconomic realities or class backgrounds, education, geography, culture, you name it. And there's something beautiful that love is one of those things that can bridge people across huge divides and differences. And yet the data will tell you it's generally harder to make those relationships work. Not impossible, but the hopeless romantic in you might start to get attached to an idea of, I'm going to make this work. How can I make this work? Right? And you're invested in an outcome that might not actually now be in your highest interest because you happen to leave your sobriety there at the door in order to stay in this connection, right? So let's acknowledge falling in love, romantic infatuation is a fun and arresting process. It is also a different thing than being in a loving relationship with someone through time. And again, I know this. I've burnt myself on this, right? So again, I'm not preaching. Maybe I'm preaching a little bit. I'm not trying to preach. You get the essence of this. I'm trying to say, hey, you've got something beautiful inside you, right? This open, beautiful desire for romance, for captivation, for the mystery, for the effort of romance. Love that. So amazing, right? Snuggle and watch a rom-com. Awesome. We just don't want it also taking you into these valleys of disappointment where reality catches up with you and you realize that maybe your inner clarity and guidance was left out. Right? That this other part of you that can talk to you, perhaps in a small, quiet voice, that isn't going to get so captivated, isn't going to get so taken by your ideas, fantasies, and expectations, that can take a step back and say, what is here? You can still enjoy that process of being taken, just like you can enjoy a night out and getting drunk, but you probably would agree you don't want to live your life from a permanent state of drunkenness. And in the same way, you don't want to live your life from a permanent state of romantic hopelessness if actually your own guidance, sobriety, clarity, and truth is more available to you. So leave me a comment. Would love to know what you think. Please join my list because I want to invite you. If you like my stuff, I want to invite you to come and learn with me and do more. We've got a new program that's likely launching soon. So click that and get on my list and leave me a comment. I read them all. Thank you for being part of this community. As always, I'm Jack. Thanks for being here.